Let's move into the next question now from Disappointed in Dayton. Is this state in Ohio?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
I know. I think it said Dayton, Ohio when I walked out the door today. And yes, because we also are licensed attorneys in Ohio, or at least I am. And we are very busy in both states, thank goodness. Real estate is, you know, very busy right now. We're always happy to help more people. And Ohio is a huge state, just like Michigan. So very active in real estate. Tons of equity, a lot of equity, just like Michigan, for real estate investors just like you.
Fantastic. Maybe I'll take a look at Ohio as well.
Yeah.
Disappointed in Dayton writes in, I paid a business financial consultant to assist me with an evaluation of a business deal that I was considering. I paid them $7,500. The deal fell apart, however, about 3 weeks from the time I retained the consultant. The consultant says he earned his fee, which is now non-refundable, but that is impossible since the business financials were never provided to him. As I said, the deal fell through before we could do our due diligence. The consultant has stopped returning my calls. How can I get my money back, and can I sue? From Disappointed in Dayton.
Wow. You know, none of these, I think a couple of weeks ago we had very short questions. It shows you who the clerk is. Like I have another clerk who is very concise.
Yes.
But you don't get all the good details. And these are some good details. The first thing I'd say to Disappointed in Dayton is that you definitely need to show whoever the attorney is that you're looking to talk to, they're going to need to see a copy of the contract between you and the consultant. It's called an engagement agreement or an engagement letter. Attorneys use them, CPAs use them, consultants, financial consultants use them. And so I'd like to see that because what if it turns out that, I mean, I'm going to defer to this person if they say they're due their money back. That's great, but in the contract, there might be a clause that says the fee is non-refundable. That's number one. Number two, let's say that the fee is refundable, and let's say it was never earned, and let's say this consultant refuses to return the money. You could always sue. You could sue for what we, you know, it's kind of, I'm not going to call it unjust enrichment. There's a contract, so did they breach the contract? We don't know. However, if this person was being charged hourly and no work has been done, you could always file an action for what we call accounting. You basically go to court. One of the counts in the complaint will say, hey, you need to provide us with an accounting to tell us how you earn this money. Now, to be fair, if you go to court for $7,500 and you have to go pay, you're the financial consultant and you got to pay an attorney, it may not be worth it. You might as well just work out a deal. Maybe, I don't really know about this consultant, but maybe the consultant should really say, hey, this deal didn't work. We're just going to apply it to the next file.
Sure. But
the Disappointed in Dayton has a right to ask for an accounting. That's the essence of that question. That's it.
Okay.
It's too bad.
No, that is too bad.
Right.
So my understanding of it is that this consultant did not actually provide any consulting.
That's what I heard.
Because there was no deal.
No deal.
Okay. Okay. Well, then there you go.
That happens too, Blair. I mean, these are real life scenarios. This happens every day, right?
Yeah.
So they, yeah. Go ahead.
The one thing I wanted to point out that I was thinking of, for those who have tuned in specifically because you are a real estate attorney, this didn't necessarily have an element of real estate in it. So I know the answer. I'm just having you elaborate for those. Why would you give advice on this particular question? Because it has to do with consulting and not necessarily real estate.
Well, it's a great question.
Just to elaborate on your skill sets.
No, 50, you know, a little over 50% of my work, maybe 60, 50, I know who's splitting hairs there, of my work is real estate related. It's all going to be real estate and finance. And the finance, when we talk about financial issues, usually deals with finance and real estate. So mortgages, secure transactions, commercial notes, leases. There's a whole host of documentation in real estate finance that keeps me very busy, keeps us very busy. And in that realm, when people find me, like this question could be related to real estate. If they're buying a business, and that's what it sounded like, there's probably a building involved or some type of asset. So if you go to our site, it says real estate contracts and financial disputes. Almost everything we deal with in real estate will have a contract. And when it doesn't, we'll form one. We'll figure out a way to show that there's a contract, okay? And then we deal with contract, it's the nature of our business to deal with contract issues. So that would probably be the other 40%. And that's a very broad umbrella, covers so many different things. And then the last thing is it says financial disputes. Financial dispute. Financial disputes usually relate to lending, loans, money, and between family members or business partners. And they all, in some way, shape, or form, relate back to real estate. They all have a real estate, they touch upon real estate, or they have a relationship to real estate like this probably did. They probably looked up a real estate lawyer because there was a building involved or something of that nature. It doesn't have to have that. I deal with asset sales from businesses, and we do business formation for real estate investors or people who are getting into real estate, right? And they need corporate work. We deal with that. But I love real estate. I love property, and anything related to real estate, I get involved with, within reason. So we do a lot of probate issues. Because people pass, I know there's a question in there because I read it before I came. When people pass away, what's the biggest asset that people have? It's usually their home or a piece of real estate, and they haven't provided for their family properly, or the deeds are screwed up, or the will wasn't done right, and then everybody's fighting over the property. It's the biggest asset. So we get involved, anything that touches the real estate we're involved with. We don't, it's kind of like, BASF, if you remember, that's a chemical company, and they have a great commercial. They say, at BASF, we don't make the car, we make the car prettier. They make the chemicals, let's say, for the paint. Well, at civil law, we don't really, we don't want to do the probate per se, but because it's real estate involved, we're there. We're like BASF. We make it better. We enhance the case better because we are so knowledgeable in real estate. Okay.
All right.
I hope that was a decent analogy.
No, it was.
It's late.
It was.
It's my favorite commercial, by the way.
Okay.